Hello, this is Lisa LaRose here on Connect to Love on PRNFM, and I am joined by the wonderful Michael J. Russ. I want to welcome you, Michael, and say how much I am grateful for you and that you are just really a joy and a gift in my life, and I'm so grateful that you're able to join me each week and off air, too, just for your caring and love and support. It is really greatly appreciated.
And that goes both ways. Goes both ways because we both. You do the same for me, and that's what it's all about. That's what life's all about, and that's great.
Thank you. And so, as sometimes I am known as the woman of wonder, and sometimes we are given words or clues, or you open a book and something will pop out at you. It'll almost be like coming right off the page, and the word bliss came off of the page in a book that I was looking at. And then as I was wondering about what really bliss is, to myself, what bliss is for me, what it is for other people, I started to think about the word bless. And I thought, well, bless is one vowel different from bliss. It's E before I. So then I started to play with that, and I thought, well, I guess you have to be blessed before you can reach a state of bliss. And that sort of led me to thinking about really what it means and how it impacts me in my life and how I choose to sort of awaken my own sovereignty to really being blessed from wherever I am in time, and really recognizing that no matter what comes down the pike for me, that there is a blessing in it. And I was sharing with you before the show that I've been reading Rick Rubin's book on creativity. And one of the things that really stuck out at me that he had said in the book is that the universe is always trying to give us clues. And he said that if we look for them, the messages the universe is giving us, sometimes comes as a sign, or sometimes it comes like that word bliss came out of the page for me. And he said that if you imagine the universe has this grand conveyor belt, similar to one of the shipping companies, where packages of various sizes, shapes and sizes are all coming down this conveyor belt. And you're standing there, and you have an opportunity to pick a package. And when you unwrap it, there's a message in there for you, just for you. And it really got me pondering, because I thought about all of the different things that you and we were both sort of led down this path, and got to meet Glenn Brooks, who really encouraged everyone to speak from an unscripted place. And I think that when we receive those packages, it opens up that doorway for us to be unscripted, that you can't plan everything. And sometimes your package will get lost. Sometimes it's found. Sometimes it is delivered to the wrong address. Sometimes we have it stolen off our porch. But I think that no matter where it is, maybe there's a message in that, too, that another package was perhaps destined to be a little bit better for us, and allowing us to sort of find that natural direction in the state of euphoria, enjoyment, and purpose to finding our bliss. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about that, Michael, because I'm wondering if you received any packages or any messages from the universe or from Jeremiah, your guide, that he's sort of given you this week that has opened up new doorways for you.
Not necessarily any new doorways. It's been an interesting week so far, being half over. We're recording this show on a Wednesday. I've had some very interesting times getting together with friends last evening, and just a group of us that try to get together and have dinner when two of the parties are in town, and that kind of happened. I can't, I have to really sit and think about that, about any, because my life pretty much is, I've kind of pared it down to keep it very simple, and we're having some siding put on the house, And so there was all of that to deal with, because I'm the one who gets what I have to get, and the siding, and to paint the siding before it's installed. And it's hot. Mm-hmm. So the interesting thing is that it took 3 weeks to get to this particular point. And so because the truck I would get the building materials in had to go into the shop. They had to find a part. They had to search the entire country for a part. Because it's an older truck, it's 20 years old, and the part it's a specially made vehicle that has a rear differential, because it has what they call quadra steering. The front wheels and the back wheels steer instead of just the front wheels, and it was only made for a couple of years. So where I'm going with this is that from the moment we decided to put siding, to replace some siding, 5 sheets of siding on the house, to the point where we actually got it done, or I'm getting it done, it's 5 weeks. Because 3 weeks the truck was in the shop, and the truck comes out of the shop, and then it's dealing with then now the rain came, rain went, figuring out when I could get the materials and then get them painted, and then arrange for the person to put them together, to put them on the house, which finally occurred today. And so when this happens, I spend all my time, most of my day, overseeing the project and making sure it's in line with what we envisioned for, because it involved removing a lot of electrical boxes and things, because it was that part of the house that had all the meter and everything on it, right? So it's get an electrician over. So what I'm going with this is, there's 2 ways to look at this. You can get frustrated because of the fact that it took so long and there were so many moving parts that you had to line up, or you can flip the coin and say, it's happening in the time it was supposed to happen in, and I was able to get the wood. I was able to spend most of Sunday afternoon and Monday morning finishing painting it. I had a good time doing it, had some music, chilled out, relaxed in the carport, and just did what I needed to do. These are really heavy 4x8 sheets of plywood, 3/4, and so it's a function of leveraging them, and I did it all myself, didn't need any help. And I guess what it is that, and this is like the 3rd time I've done this, because I did a couple of years ago, about 12 years ago, I had to paint 27 sheets of 4x8 siding, and plus a whole bunch of trim. And this time I did a pared-down version of that. However, whenever I'm involved in this sort of thing, I attempt to find the most blissful way to deal with it, to be involved in it. And I bring out, like I said, I bring out my music, or I bring out Carol Collins and listen and get a different perspective while I'm doing something that is rather mundane, which is painting siding, right? And there's some steps involved. I had to figure out interesting ways of not using a boatload of paint, because this wood sucks up a lot of paint. And so I remembered how I did it before, and I went back and I repeated the process. And it was a blissful thing. I was very grateful and that when and gratified. There was a sense of extreme self-satisfaction when I finished with the whole project. And today I spent a day not doing anything, and then the guy comes over in the morning with his crew, and while they were doing their thing, I was cleaning up after them as they were destroying what was coming off. Which somebody looked at me the other day, and looked at me today, and said, "What are you?" Looked at me very strangely. The guys who were working looked at me a little bit strangely, because I'm a neatnik, and I realized that these nails coming out of this siding that they're taking off are falling into my grass. The grass is going to get mowed in 4 or 5 days again. They're going to have to put new siding on. Why would we walk over nails that just came out, push them further into the ground? So I cleaned everything up and got it ready for the siding to be installed. And I did this all around the house, threw it on the back of the truck. It's ready to go to the dump. And it swept up the carport, the patio where sawdust and other stuff was. And it's just, for me, I enjoy that. I enjoy doing that. I don't look at it as as drudgery or, I feel, for me, I'm blessed to have the time that I have the freedom to not do my regular work, to just take off, and which is in my house anyway, come down and do all this. And then I do it in use a process that helps me remain in a blissful state and not a frustrated state. Because I know a lot of people who do approach these projects as, oh my gosh, I've got to do this thing. And I'm like, it has to get done. So I get a choice about how I mentally process it.
You know, what came to mind, Michael, is it's kind of like Christmas. You as a child, you get ready for Christmas, and you get your list together, and we used to look through the catalog and be like, look at that, look at that, look at that. And you make your list, and then you'd be so excited to go to bed the night before, and you'd wake up, and it might not be exactly what, the presents weren't exactly under the tree, what you wrote on your list, but it was still Christmas Day, and you find fulfillment and happiness in whatever it is. And so for you, your Christmas Day was the side, you've got all these different things together, and things aren't exactly how you expected, but once everything's done, you're going to sit down with a nice red glass of wine and look at your accomplishment and go, wow, I did this. And that is, I know you're going to feel gratitude for everything that unfolded. You'll feel fulfilled, and you'll be happy. And that is, to me, really a step towards living a blissful life. No matter where the journey takes you, even every nail that you've picked up, that makes you feel good. And it doesn't have to do with just being a neatnik. That's the way you cultivate and curate your world.
Exactly, and it keeps me balanced. I mean, we were talking about it before, and blessings. When someone says, I'm blessed. I live a blessed life. I'm blessed by this thing that's happening to me. To me, the state of mind there is gratitude. That is in my view. That's what you're doing. Is you're being grateful for what you have, what's happened to you, what's going on, the life you're living. And then bliss, on the other hand, is a state of mind. It's a state of being, whereby through gratitude you can experience bliss. I guess that's the best way to put it. Through gratitude, through being blessed, you're experiencing bliss. And the key is to deal with everything else in your life from that perspective. You could say, I'm blessed to have the freedom to be able to come down and do these things and do this preparation. I'm not having to leave town to go to work, or I'm not having to go to the office or take time off or take vacation or whatever it is. I'm blessed to have the financial capability to buy these things so I can fix my house up, keep my house, in good working order. I'm blessed to have a vehicle that I can carry this wood in, and I'm blessed to have the health to be able to paint it myself instead of hiring someone. And then at the end of the whole process, I experienced, and all along the way, I experienced the state of bliss from being able to do the little things that it's a blissful state of mind that I employ to move along this journey. And instead of being disrupted by the fact that the truck can't be fixed for 3 weeks and getting frustrated by that, frustration and bliss are flip sides of the same coin. You can be frustrated, you can be blissful. Yeah, and we always, again, have to remember that that's a choice. We're either at any given point on one side of the coin or the other. And I would prefer to be on the blissful side because it's more fun. That's
very true. Very true.
It's more fun.
And it is. It is. There's a saying, and I don't know where it came from, but, you are the happiness you seek. And I always think about that. You are, I am I am the happiness I seek. And really, if that bliss is like my true nature, my inner self, some people call it the Buddha nature, then I have to find that within. And sometimes, and I was thinking about this, and there's an expression that my friends and I use about being dumbed down. I think that society, a lot of the things that are in society sort of dumb us down for seeing our light. I think about that. We sort of make these different choices in our reality, and you and I have talked about it. Thought, judgment, perception, belief. About separation, competition, scarcity, consciousness. They're sort of enslaving beliefs, and that when you choose to see something different or to say, no, I'm a sovereign being. It is my divine right to be blissful. And I think, the universe kind of nudges us in different directions. And when I was a kid, did you ever read The Little Prince by Antoine Saint-Exupéry, Le Petit Prince, by any chance?
I can't recall. I might have.
There's a lot of quotes that were taken from there, and I reread the book pretty much almost every year because it's such a great reminder. This little prince lands in the on the earth, and he comes across a pilot whose plane had crashed, and he walks up to him and he asks him to draw a sheep. And he's like, what is this all about? And so the guy picks up a pen and he draws this. He's like, no, that sheep won't do. It only has 3 legs. And then the guy draws something else. And he said, no, that sheep is sick. And then finally, out of frustration, he just draws a box with little holes in it. He's like, oh, that sheep is perfect. It's exactly what I need. It's exactly what I need. And all throughout that book is examples of that, about perception and how we see the world. And one of my favorite quotes from the book is, what is essential is invisible to the eye. And it's such a great reminder that there is more in the world than mere appearances. And I think that's really what Bliss is all about. Because the important things in life really can't be seen. They're the things that are felt, like love, kindness, compassion, generosity, friendship, all of those things that we talk about. It's the little things that sometimes we don't really notice. The material things are really all around us, but it's the things that you can't buy that really make a difference to each one of us. And love and kindness and bliss really are invisible, but they all have the power to change the world. And in the wisdom of that book, I think that you'll find that really love means so much, that when two people walk in the same direction, they're guided. They're guided by joy, their experiences, common interests, whatever it is that brought them together, two souls who just begin to share an extraordinary journey. And extraordinary, I think, is really part of what Bliss is all about. It's about finding the true essence of who we are and really just connecting to the beauty inside of us. I think that in the journey from being blessed to bliss, we really have to kind of do a self-check. We have to focus on what that means, what our purpose is, what we've experienced in life, and what we imagine every day. Now, that little prince, he needed a sheep because on his planet there grew one tree, a baobab, and it was going to encircle and really destroy his planet. And he had a rose that he kept under glass, and his rose was very, very vain. And she talked about how beautiful she was. And he came down to Earth, and he saw that there were thousands of roses, and he was disappointed. And then, towards the end of the book, I'm not going to spoil the story because it's such a wonderful book, but he recognizes that his rose, because it's his, is unique in all the world. And I think that is part of being a sovereign being and part of recognizing your own bliss, that you are unique in all the world, and that you, whatever your journey is, whether it's picking up nails and siding or going through some of the challenges that I've been going through lately, it's part of my beingness and the path that I chose, and and how I respond. And I did a class last night with Carol Collins. It was absolutely fantastic. It was such a blessing, and it was just, I was a little bit late for the class. I didn't know if I was going to make it because my day was extra challenging. And the first thing the guides came in, and they showed me a hand position for healing, and I practiced it all last night, and I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was like raring to go, in that state of bliss. It was like reconnecting. It was a gift. And I was
beautiful.
So grateful.
I love that. There is a video. I don't know if there's one that she demonstrates on the video about healing a hand position. I know the one with energy where you wrap your fingers or you wrap your one hand.
That's wonderful.
Around each finger, and then the 10th finger you just kind of touch with all of the tips of your fingers, your pinky, which I have done many times. I also, there's another one where you're just simply putting your hands on your hips. It brings energy into your body. Or just standing up and putting your hands on your hips. Yeah, taking your that normal pose that would be where you just take your hands and you just literally spread your thumb and index finger and put it on your hip, and you've got your hands on your hips, right? One on each hip, and just stand there and breathe, and that ignites energy from within.
Wow.
Very, very simple, very unique, very interesting, and there's so many of these. It's like so many different ways. I'll be sitting around, and I'll do the one with wrapping my hand around one hand around the fingers on the other hand and repeating it on the other, switching hands. It's just beautiful. And I'd love to at some point see what this particular one that she taught you last evening was all about. Because I like to, I like to have. It's like you have this little mixed bag of different ways that you can energize yourself and to eliminate stress or to, make life more fun all of a sudden. Kind of shifting. It's all about, in many ways, just simply shifting the path of your thinking. It's pivoting your thinking away from negative to positive. Which is something that she talks about, the collective talks about in another video, and how on a moment-to-moment basis, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is what our guides are urging to do, is to shift from negative to positive by also looking at what we're focusing on.
Absolutely.
When you understand what you're focusing on, you're going to know right away whether or not you're focused on something negative or positive. And the more you focus on positive and less on negative, the more blissful you feel. The happier you feel, the more joyful you feel. And the more fun life is, and the more you love life. And it may seem simple. However, this is a world that can thrust you into all kinds of different, it can throw a lot of things at you. And again, you just said the word response. It's not what happens, to use this cliche, it's how you deal with what happens, how you process what happens. And the more you process what happens in a positive way, to see it from a positive perspective, the more fun life is for you, the more you will love life. And the key is to simply love life. When you love life, the world, as my guide says, becomes your oyster. It's really interesting how the things you are wanting in life come to you because you're in a positive state of being. Your life is fun for you. You love yourself. You love your life, and as an extension of that, you love yourself. And how doors open up, how the good keeps coming to you, because it's what we focus on that creates our state of being. And the more we focus on positive, the more positive our state of being is. And that
absolutely
is everything around us. And for people who are having, even listeners that are having a challenging time in their lives, it doesn't matter what happens. We can find a way to see the positive in it. And that's, I'm not going to go into what you're dealing with right now, but I really do. You stand as an example for, and a reminder for me. I've been through what you've been through. You've been, a lot of people have dealt with in their lives with other beings who are having health challenges. And we, as beings, want to control. We want to control the situation because we don't want to. We want to control what happens to them. We desperately want to control what happens to them. And to say, when I tell them you have to back off and know that you can't control, you have to shift your focus. Shift your focus to gratitude for being able to see them, touch them, feel them, to experience them, and to perhaps talk with them, if that's possible, to spend time with them in the physical. Because at some particular point, they're going to go back to being a non-physical vibrational being.
Right.
Currently now they're having a physical life experience, one of their own choosing. We have to remember this, one of their own choosing. You never know why someone's experienced what they're experiencing. And you have no control over whatever that is. And but you do have this ability to be happy and joyful and blissful in your experience with them. You can experience joy with them. However, brief you think that is, you can create a sense of bliss with whoever is encountering health issues. And I see this, it's really interesting, the way children handle serious health issues. Have a lot of strength. There's a lot of strength. And what I remember is that this little non-vibrational being chose to have a physical experience. Whatever that experience is, I can't control it. However, a lot of times what I focus on is the fact that there is some reason, unbeknownst to me, something I will never understand and never know, why this particular child or person or somebody is going through this situation, why they're going through it. And that they chose to experience through health issues, maybe perhaps joy, maybe love, maybe bliss, maybe gratitude. I was told once, it's interesting because I had one of my best friends in life, who I went to high school with, had died of a brain tumor. And after extremely painful radiation and all this other stuff, I mean, it was a crazy experience. And I had asked someone a good friend of mine who spoke to, who was very intuitive when it came to literally speaking with spirits. And I said, I really need to understand this. Why would someone put themselves through this? And the answer received was love. Love. And I said, love? Really? The ability to remain loving through some of the harshest pain and circumstances, life circumstances, physical circumstances, is what his soul wanted to experience. Chose to experience love through pain. Wow.
I know.
That's
so true.
However, and when I heard that, I said, wow, he was the most loving being. I mean, all I wanted to do was just hug him. When I saw him a couple weeks before he passed, and all I wanted to do was just hug him. I said, man, we went to a class reunion together. The final reunion he was able to go to, and I had to almost, I didn't necessarily force him, but I said, I'm flying out to California and we're going to this thing. Get your best suit, pal. And the way that he was received in the condition that he was in at the event itself was so loving. I shed tears after I led him. It was like the most amazing. Everybody there just embraced him, because this was the basketball star in high school, in juniors varsity basketball, and to see what had happened to his body and what had happened to him physically. And to go to this particular reunion, and we closed the place. We were at this hotel, and we closed the place.
That's fantastic.
People just did not want to leave his presence. It was pretty spectacular. And so when I remember, that taught me a very important lesson, the lesson of you don't know what journey somebody's on or why they're on that journey. You don't know why they're on that journey. And that reasoning is way beyond our pay grade, and that we have to simply embrace them and love them and be joyful with them and around them and bring joy to them, because that's what we resonate. Be joyful ourselves, be loving ourselves, and be friendly and kind and peaceful, and bring that to them instead of worry, fear, and perhaps even aggravation because they're not the way you want them to be, whatever that is, right? People who have, and they're not ruining your life. You and your attitude are ruining your life. They're not the one doing it. One of the most challenging things to remember, that is the case. It's us. We feel the way we feel because we're the ones creating those feelings within us. And then we're resonating that fear and that worry and that concern. And that's not what they want to hear.
You're right.
They already have shades of that. They want, it turns somebody around completely when they experience joy and love. And love is it. If nothing else, love them for exactly who they are, where they are, what they're experiencing. Embrace them, because that's the journey they're on.
It's true. You're absolutely right. It's beautiful what you shared. I just am so thank you, Michael, because it really, I think it touches my heart, and I know that, or hopefully it does the same for our listeners, or echoes, and I'm sure there's not anybody whose life hasn't been touched by a serious illness at some point. True. And it is, again, a reminder of gratitude. I keep a book on my desk, and it was written by, or actually it was compiled posthumously after her passing, but it's called This Star Won't Go Out, and it's Esther Earl Grace. And she was, I believe, it was 2004. I can't remember what year it was, but she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And she passed shortly after her 16th birthday. But she connected when, in the short time, and she went through her illness, and she reached out to an internet community and shared a lot of things with teens, and just really wanted to be normal. And she inspired John Green, who did The Fault in Our Stars, and he was introduced to her, and it was a big inspiration for him to see how she sort of not only navigated through her illness, but how she inspired others. And the book, why I like to keep it on my desk, is because she's got a great, big, beautiful smile, and they kind of put it together as a scrapbook, things from her journal, and it's an uplifting book, and it's a reminder to me every day to appreciate the gifts and blessings in my life. And I think about, and then that conveyor belt idea from Rick Rubin. It's like I can't help but see the world as that now. I really can. I'm like, okay, what package did I get today? What is in here? What little unexpected things am I going to learn? And remind me that every opportunity I have, whether it's how I perceive it. And, one of the packages that I opened, was a gift from you, was the reminder to put my hands on my hips. I have seen that, and I remember that when you do that, if you put your hands behind you, it's sort of like letting go of the past, where you set them on the side, where you move those positions. And I thought, after the show, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Not that I can't do it now, but I like to be fully present in what we're doing. But so many different things are like that, and it really, truly does help us, give us, I think, a reality check. When I look at that book from Esther Earl Grace, The Star Won't Go Out, and it's true. Each one of us is a star in the universe, and we can shine brightly and live in that true state of bliss that's in each of us, and really recognize the fact that we are the happiness we seek. And there is a blessing in every day, no matter what it is, whatever the challenges are. And as I said, when you look back and the decades, and I think to myself, wow, how can all the things that transpired that brought me to where I am right now, it's all part of the journey. And I wouldn't take any one thing away. And I think there was another thing that I actually wrote it down because it was a really great reminder from Rick Rubin as well. And he said, you want to focus on the moments that take your breath away. And I thought, oh my God, I love that. Focus on the moments that take my breath away. And then I think that's what really fuels me. And that's what, as I share that with others, like, wow, did you see that sunset? Or did you see that amazing video of these animals, or whatever it is? I mean, there's so many things in life to be grateful for, and that do take our breath away.
It is interesting. That's beautiful. All that is absolutely astoundingly beautiful, because that is the way that we should really all seek to live. We should endeavor to embrace those moments of magnificence that take our breath away. I love, as I go through the day, since I work out of my house, I don't get out as much as a lot of people, unless I get out to go to the store or whatever. However, what's interesting is I get to catch the sunrise coming over the trees every morning. Now, I have an office that faces to the east, and I was telling somebody just this morning that I have my exercises that my guide gave me that I do when the sun is rising over the trees, right into my office window. I sit in my chair, and the sun's rays are just showering my body with beautiful light, right? And I choose that. I was just thinking this morning, I said, that is such an amazing feeling, sitting there. It's peaceful, it's quiet.
Oh, I can imagine.
Is just floating over your face. And that to me is a great way to start the day. Now, bliss is a choice, as I said previously. We all should be waking up in the morning and declaring the emotions that we want to feel that day. It's one way to do it. Joy, peace, love, friendly, happy. What do you want to experience that day? And as a result of that focus, you putting those out, giving them out to people. If you're receiving, you say to yourself, I'm already receiving. I want to receive joy. I want to receive peace. I want to receive love and friendly and happy. That's what I want. And it just sets the tone for how you want to approach the day, whether you commute to work or whether you have to do something at work. And hopefully you're doing something you love, you can find some joy in, and focus on that joy, and not so much the things that you have found incongruence with, because that's really what a lot of people have a tendency to do. And negative is very negative things, negative circumstances. They can take over. Mm-hmm. They're going to happen. Things are going to happen. As someone said the other day, I think it was the collective. There's no right. There's no wrong. There's no right or wrong. Right? Mm-hmm. There really is no right or wrong. We go around judging things as being good or bad, right or wrong. No, they're just things. We have to remember, whatever happens, it's just a thing that's happening. And it is us that breathes life into it. To what degree, and to what degree we do breathe life into it. How much we invest in it emotionally. And that all, if we choose a negative path for that, there goes our bliss right out the window. It's just smothered out completely. And I don't know about you. I don't know about our listeners. However, I want a life that is blissful, that is happy, where I'm making choices throughout the day that resonate with bliss and joy and love and peace and happy. That's really what I want. So my day is about making sure, no matter what occurs, that I'm still in that zone, that I'm mm-hmm. still doing that. That is the challenge that we all have, because we're all and what we focus on, what we choose to focus on, we can choose it. We can choose to sit around and experience the news first thing in the morning if you're so inclined. Or you can say, you know what? None of that really matters. None of that really matters. It's just something that's happening in the world. It's not happening to us. It's happening somewhere in the world to someone else. And I had to ask somebody the other day. I said, "You're pretty wound up about that thing that you're talking about. You're wound up about it. You got your emotions." As my mother used to say, "Don't get your panties in a twist."
I get that. I love that.
Because that's what people do. They get all tight about things, and
right.
Remember that in the grand scheme of your life, not somebody else's, but your life, the only impact that thing has on you is what you give it. Mm-hmm. You do not have to react that way to that. Because if you're happy, loving, blissful, having a good time, joyful, that thing is still going to happen. It's going to happen whether or not you're in a great state of being or not. And that's what I always encourage people to remember, that you can mm-hmm. be in a loving state. Because if you didn't hear about that other thing that disrupted your whole attitude, you'd still be loving if that's the state you chose. So why don't you just stay there and see that other thing for what it is, just something that's going on. There'll be something else tomorrow, mm-hmm. or then 5 minutes later, there'll be something else. And
absolutely.
Yeah, the 24-hour rule works. I've said it before, I think, on this program, if not my own podcast, where, and I put it in my book, Zero Adversity, for eliminating adversity in your life, is if it isn't going to mean anything in 24 hours, if tomorrow what you're all got your panties in a twist about today isn't going to be valuable to you tomorrow, relevant to you tomorrow, then you have to be very, very careful about the relevance you're giving it today. Mm-hmm. And as Carol and the Collective would say, Carol Collins and Collective would say that the amount of emotion that you dedicate to some negative emotion, that you dedicate to the fear and worry and anger and hate and greed and jealousy and all that, the degree to which you dedicate those emotions and feelings to events going to impact, it greatens the degree to which it impacts your grid. It's a word I'm looking for. It expands the impact on your grid. And you ask yourself, do I want all that stuff on my subconscious? Do I want all that stuff on my subconscious tape that I have to now erase? Do I want it sticking to me? Here's a great way. It's interesting. I came up with this analogy the other day, and it was like, wow, okay, that's really kind of cool. Let's say you are your grid. What you're putting out, what you're vibrating, that's, you have a grid, a subconscious. But let's say that you can see it, that it's a field around you. Mm-hmm. And when you dedicate energy to negativity and fear, and you engage in that sort of thing, and you dedicate those negative emotions, lower frequency emotions, to events in a very intense way, to a high degree, it's as if those events are given some sort of life, and it comes back to splatter on you. Mm-hmm. Just imagine that. These things come back to you and they splatter you with, let's say, green goop. And you have to, at the end of the day, ask yourself, how much green goop do you really want splattered all over you? I know it's kind of crazy, but you got to give this a visual, because that's really what's happening.
Yeah, no, it's a really great analogy.
That you have to clean up this green goop at the end of the day.
Actually, before you said that, and it's only because I'm a pet person, when you said that there's all this stuff, I thought, oh my God, it's like static and pet hair. You got a pair of black pants, and I like, okay, I just get dressed and like, please don't come near me, my German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Please don't come near me.
Oh, yeah.
I just got dressed. I got all the hair off me. I'm ready to go out. I got to go somewhere. Please don't come near me. And she just can't help herself, and she's static, covered in German Shepherd hair. But it is. And the other thing I just want to comment, Michael, because when you were talking about your sunrises, I thought to myself, what a beautiful thing. Because not every day, every day you're seeing a different sunrise. The sky, there's no two sunrises are the same.
Correct.
And
sunrise
some days, and it made me think of this as the analogy of someday you're expecting to see your sunrise, but all of a sudden, like, a cloud comes in, another cloud, and then it converges in, and all of a sudden you've got these big lightnings, that illuminate the sky, and raindrops pelting down, but before you know it, it's all over, and then the sun comes out again. But there's beauty even in that storm. And the convergence, I mean, if you look there, joy and love and forgiveness, understanding, compassion, can all harmonize in that convergence. Mm-hmm. And what comes out is that beautiful sunshine, that beautiful state of bliss. And it's how, when you open up your curtain, what are you going to see? What do you choose to see? And I love that, though, that analogy of the green goop. And for me, like I said, it just, like, I don't know, sometimes when you talk, I get these visuals, and I'm thinking, oh, Calliope's hair all over my pants. Stuck on me.
Yeah, it's easier to go through life and to deal with experiences when you can tie them to some sort of visual. Give you another visual that I use. When decades and decades ago, it was like 40 years ago, I really stopped eating a lot of candy. I eat chocolate today, high concentration chocolate. However, I stopped eating taffies. I stopped eating gummy sugary candy. I stopped eating candy that I sucked on and it melted in my mouth, because I gave myself this visual of a bunch of little people with pickaxes on my teeth when I did that. That these little beings had, miniature, just microscopic beings had pickaxes picking away at my enamel every time I put that stuff in my mouth.
Sure. Oh my gosh.
It's true. Absolutely. And I, to this day, I love those candies, but I don't eat them, because I've given myself this visual that I'm going to have to go deal with the dentist. Back in those days, cavities were more prevalent. And when I was in my teens and 20s and early 30s, and I see now about how those things, the cavities that you get earlier in life, they're persistently problematic when you get older because those fillings don't last forever. So, and there are fissures and cracks that can occur when you have micro fissures that can occur that later in life, 30, 40 years down the road, 50 years down the road, become problematic because they can become larger fissures and crack, and you can get infections. I mean, it's just, you can go on and on. However, the little pickaxes, it's like every time I eat those things, I've ingested a bunch of little people with pickaxes that start chipping away at my teeth. And so it's kind of cool. I don't use as much ice cream as I used to, although I love it. Ice cream isn't as bad, but you can give yourself visuals for all kinds of things. That was just the one that helped me, and it stopped me from putting sugar in tea as well. A lot of sugar now. I can drink tea and just put lemon in it and be just fine. It's very refreshing, and lemon is very good for you, from a detoxification perspective. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. I love the little visuals, though, and I'm glad that you got that one because, that's what we do. We put this. Every time we encounter something that makes us really angry, or we watch things that are scary, that have a lot of blood and guts and murder and all these kinds of things, crime stories. Those things, when we focus on those things imprint on us.
They dumb us down. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. They dumb us down. I knew that's where you're going with that, and I appreciate the comment of the term "dumb down" because we are smarter than that. we are. Yeah, we can create the life that we want for ourselves. Our thinking creates our way of being, and if we could just get that's a very powerful tool to have in your arsenal, is to be in complete and total control of your own thoughts, of what you're thinking about and what you're focusing on at the time, and what feelings are being created as a result of your focus. That is the cat's meow right there when it comes to creating, to being happy, to being loving, to having fun and being joyful. It fascinates me that I can have that kind of power. It's just fascinating. In the midst of all the stuff going on, the chaos, the politics, the thought viruses that are so prevalent in our world today, in terms of social media.
The nails in the lawn. What a great metaphor for that. The nails in the lawn.
Nails in the lawn. And I got to take those things out. They'll become problematic. Something will happen. Let's get rid of them. Let's clean this up. And do it now. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm halfway done cleaning the dishes, if not all the way done, before the meal is actually cooked. I'm actually.
I do too. I like to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, as it's cooking on the stove, I'm cleaning everything else. I don't just pile it into the sink and wait till later, because later is like, I want to be doing something else. I want to go enjoy. I want to enjoy having a nice conversation, or whatever, with the people that I'm hanging with. If we invited guests over, I want to spend time with them. I don't want to spend all my time in the kitchen. But that's, people look at me and go, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm cleaning things. I'm putting things in the dishwasher that can go in there. I'm hand washing things that need to be hand washed." And you can go through life like that, just making sure and being proactive. It's kind of a way of being in control of what your own thoughts are. To me, that's kind of a metaphor for that. You can clean things up.
Absolutely, Michael. And I so appreciate you, because you really do. You look through life through a different lens, and you look for sometimes what nobody else sees. And I would encourage our listeners to always do that and recognize that you are blessed from within. And that's really where the idea of bliss comes from, recognizing that you can imagine living in an amazing state no matter where you are, living with faith, gratitude, intention, understanding, peace, and, of course, our connection to love. And I'll let you sign up on the show, Michael, and it's such a delight I just I really appreciate you for seeing things and gifting those to me and to our audience.
Appreciate it. I appreciate this opportunity, by the way, because the show is fantastic. I told you that I do it all the time. This is the one consistent thing I do in my life that I plan on doing, because normally my life just kind of float around from moment to moment, and I like it that way, just kind of floating through life as on my journey. And I would encourage people to not get so uptight when things occur. Step outside of the event, see it from a macro perspective instead of a micro. Realize it. Ask yourself this question: how much is this really impacting me personally? What impact is it? I mean, is somebody slapping me, or has somebody slapped somebody else? How does it? Is it something that's happened to me personally? And distance yourself from it, because you don't understand why it's happening to begin with. And that'll help keep some of the green goop off your grid.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And may you all be blessed with bliss always.
Oh, definitely.